Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, test, test. Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Today I want to do some drum pad work and some drum set work. And what it amounts to is I'm in the process, well, actually, for the last maybe 10 years, of putting together a new publication. The new publication is an accumulation of all the ways that I've come up with to do the stick control book. You know, referencing, eliminations, formulas, substitutions, all different ways. And I'm trying to put it together and make it a presentation. I am working on some instructional videos as to all the ways I've come up with doing the stick control book. So I really wish that, you know, whoever is viewing would at least come into the chat and say hello. Okay. Now I did send out PDFs the other day. What do you want to proof it? Don? Oh. Oh, okay, sure. You could proof the book, not a problem. We'll talk about that. I'll send me I'm going to email me, send me your phone number and I'll give you a holler and we'll talk about it. You can definitely, without a doubt, you have the abilities, the knowledge, the experience, and the intelligence to definitely proofread it. And I'll even include your name to that. That would not be a problem. What my problem is how to organize it. So that's the hard part. And my grammar and my sentence structure, I'm going to have somebody do that for me. It's not too good. Here's my email, Don. So you email me, send me all the information, your phone number, and we'll talk on the phone about this. Anyway, there's like 5 people viewing this lesson, and Don, you're the only one that's in the chat. So whoever else is viewing this, please get into the chat and say hello. Now, on Facebook, what I did the other day was there was a video of Joe Morello demonstrating singles, doubles, and paradiddles on YouTube. So I put it on Facebook, and it really got a lot of views and a lot of questions. So I figured, well, let me do this today. What I've done is I came up with a formula now of what he did using the stick control book. Again, the brilliance of George Lawrence Stone. So here's what we're going to do. This I consider one of the formulas. Everybody, I think I sent this out the other day, PDFs, and I don't know, there wasn't too many people on the channel here, so I said the heck with the lesson. So there seems to be 5 or 6 people watching this right at the moment, and hopefully that when this is recorded, that they'll view it when it's recorded. But anyway, when I say formula, I make right become something, and I make left become something. And I utilize, like, again, the brilliance of George Lawrence Stone. So this has to do with singles and doubles, no paradiddles yet. So what I do, when I come to a right, I'm going to go into a 16th note formation. When I see a right, 1, E, and the. When I see a left, it's going to become a double. So now, with that established, R equals single strokes, L equals double strokes in 16th note formation. Now, the way to count 16th notes is 1, E, and the, 2, E, and the, 3, E, and the, 4, E, and the. So let's take that formula and let's do the first line of Stick Control Book, page 5, which is 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. However, I'm not thinking of that as a 2-measure increment. I'm just thinking of right as 1, L as 2, right as 3, L as 4. So if you look at that whole line, thinking it that way, it will become 4-measure increment. So let's take the first right, left sequence. And again, we're going to go into a 16th note formation. I'm going to do it really slow. Remember, R equals single strokes, L equals double strokes. So let's do the first line, nice and easy. 1, E, and a, 2, E, and a, 3, E, and a, 4, E, and a. Now what I did was I took the formula, right, left, the right formula and the left formula, and put it into the sticking pattern. Now if I did the whole line, I'll do it a little up tempo. Now, that's not too fast. It's just, this is not a show-off platform. This is an educational platform. So we took line 1, and then, you want to get the metronome, just hang out with it. Go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. However, there's one thing that you have to remember, and I have a video on this particular subject. The way George Lawrence Stone intended the Stick Control Book to be played, the first 3 pages, that the right hand and the left hand sound the same. Now, this is very difficult to make single strokes and double strokes sound the same, but that's what you're going for. John, how you doing? Okay, so now you have the right and left. Look at the heights of my sticks. They're at the same distance. So technically, and the laws of physics, if they're coming down from the same point with the same amount of velocity, they should be sounding the same. 1, E, and a, 2, E, and the. It's a pop. I call it pop. All right, so now we have line 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. So on and so forth. Now we go to, let me skip line 2. Let's go to line, number 3. You have 2 rights. Remember now the right equals 1 E and a. And then the left. So now we do line number 3, which is right, left. That gives me 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. We get that, gentlemen? John, do you understand that? Don, I'm sure you understand it. It's just the formula. I just totally worship George Lawrence Stone and his brilliance, the way he organized the Stick Control Book. Now this is like sort of a trailer to the book that I'm trying to complete. Many, many thousands of ways to do the stick control book. So we go to line 3 again, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a boom. Now we go to line 5, and we have right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, interjecting the formula. Okay, interjecting the formula, you have 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a boom. Now, anybody that is viewing this at the moment, if you want me to break that down a little bit more or slow it down somewhat or re-explain it because you know you didn't make it in time for my introduction of the lesson, I will gladly do that again. So get into the chat and tell me, would you like me to bring it down a little bit, re-explain it, or whatever? I know, Don, you totally understand this. John, you missed out on the beginning of the lesson, and I'm not saying you don't or you're not able to play this, but you should do, you should understand, or you understand, all right, where I'm sorry, where I'm coming from or how I'm getting what I'm doing. What I like to do is line 13. That's 4 rights and 4 lefts. That's giving me a total measure of single strokes in 16th note formation and a total of double strokes in 4 double strokes in a row. That gives me singles, doubles, singles, and doubles. The other combinations are really great because they're taking they're taking he's taking rather different approaches, different zones of attack. Now, if you don't know what I mean by zones of attack, you know, if you're right-handed, you're constantly playing, you know, with the right lead. Now, all of a sudden, I'm going to do 2 rights and 2 lefts. That's a different thing. Or 2 lefts and a right. It's 2 different things. So if I did singles, oh, by the way, Don, while I'm thinking about it, thank you for a couple years back turning me on to Buster Bailey's Wrist Twisters. That is a very, very challenging book. And woof, bless him. Okay, that's the first part of the lesson. Now, I wrote out the PDFs and I sent them to everyone. Okay, now the second part of the lesson, again, is stick control, again. But I'm going to develop a coordination sequence. And for me to write something out like this, just multiply 72 times 72. That's how many things that are different here. You'll get the gist of it. I'm going to do a few lines, and you'll see. If you need to have it written out, when I complete it, I will definitely send it to everyone. So this is more like a drum set application and controlling your bass drum or developing coordination. Okay, so now let's go back. What we're going to do is we're going to play the line 1, as written. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, I'm going to reference off the page, and I'm going to eliminate the lefts. So if I reference off the page and eliminate the lefts, that's going to give me 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And I'm going to substitute, instead of using the right hand, I'm going to use the bass drum. So now I'm going to play line 1 and reference off of it while I'm playing line 1, all the rights as the bass drum. So I get this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, for the first exercise, that you maintain that sticking pattern all the way through 72 lines. But now I just did the first line. Simple. Okay. Now we'll go to the second line. But we're going to still maintain the first line sticking pattern. And we're going to play all the rights. We're going to eliminate the lefts and play all the rights as the bass drum. Now you go to line 2, and all of a sudden, the bass drum, instead of going on 1, 2, 3, 4, is on the ands now. So you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. Got it? Line 3. I'm still doing this all the way through. Now my bass drum on line 3 is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So you have line number 3 with the bass drum. We have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we go to line 4. The bass drum now, or the rights rather, are going to move over to the 2 and 4 and. So I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Line 5. Now you could do this with the syncopation book as well. But here's the objective. I just did the first line. Maintaining the sticking pattern on my snare drum. I'm referencing off of the stick control book because now I'm eliminating all the lefts and just playing the rights with my bass drum. Now that gives me 72 different bass drum combinations against that sticking. Now, if I change the sticking, for example, if I go now to line 2, instead of going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, it does make a difference here because, like I said, if you're right-handed and you're favoring that right, there you go. If you do it left, it's different. You got to maintain the sticking. So let's do line 1 using line number 2 sticking and playing 1 through 72. Line 1. Nice and slow. Okay, line number 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Line number 3. So on and so forth. You can go through 72 lines like that. You go like to line 3. Line 3, you maintain the sticking pattern. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? And now you're referencing off of line 1 all the rights. Now, what this is going to do is a lot of different things for you. You know, you're used to playing doubles in eighth note formation. If I go do line 2 that way, if I'm going to do the single strokes, and I'm going to do line, let's say 5. We're doing line 2. 1 and 2. I'm going to do line 3. Line 5. I'm maintaining the sticking pattern of line 2. And that gets a little tricky when you go to line 3. You maintain that sticking. Line 1 is easy. That's it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's what you're accustomed to doing. Now I'm going to do line 2 with the bass drum. Line 4 with the bass drum. Line 5 with the bass drum. so on and so forth. It's a challenging exercise. Here's what you want to do if you really want. We're not talking about funk drumming or jazz or any kind of Latin or any particular tune per se. We're talking about you discovering your abilities to control your limbs. And there's the stick control book. Played this way is going to strengthen a lot of different areas. Sure, it don't sound like, yeah, man, I'm the funkiest drummer in the world nonsense kind of thing. What it does, it gives you the ability to say, okay, bass drum, this is what you're going to do. Okay, hands, this is what you're going to do. And you control it. That's what it's about. Stick control. By the way, the title of my book is going to be Beyond Control. Okay? Now, we just did that in eighth note formation. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You have two different other options here. If I did line 1, excuse me, instead of interpreting the first line as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I'm going to consolidate the line. I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to interpret it as 16ths. So I'm going to have 1 E and a, 2 E and a, E and a, 4 E and a. Now here is the first option to this approach. I can reference off the stick control book, all right, as just as written. So if I do it as written, my bass drum is going to fall on 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'd have 1 E and a, 2 E and a. Okay, that's how I'm interpreting the stick control book. Now I could interpret the line, all right, as cut time. If I do it like I'm counting 1, if I'm doing it in 4/4 as I'm thinking of the line as written 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, my bass drum is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. However, if I'm interpreting the bass drum, the line as 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the, now remember, I'm still playing this as 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the, I'm going to play my bass drum now as 1 E and the 2 E and 3 E and the 4 E and the. I go to line 2, and again you have the option 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the, or 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the, or line 3. So on and so forth. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, and I'm not going to give my book away. But for me to write out all of this, in my opinion, it's good. It's definitely independence. It's control. Everybody always harps on speed. That's the most ridiculous thing in the world. How fast could you play your singles? Up-tempo tunes are up-tempo tunes. They're fast. You only could play something so fast or it turns into a blur. And what's the point of playing something fast if you don't have control? And this is what the books are about. Control. Remember this, and this is a rule that I follow. Without control, speed does not exist. You control something and you make it flow, very relaxed. You make that stronger. You're not preventing the sticks from doing what they're supposed to do. You're allowing them to do what they have to do. You're relaxed. Your mind is mentally in tone. You have total control of your limbs. Slow. Stay there for a while. And as you progress, up the tempo a little bit. And before you know it, you have an array of tempos. From 35 is kind of ridiculous, but it's very slow, but you should be able to play it. Remember, the slower you play something, the more control you gentlemen need and ladies need. Okay? And the more control you obtain, the stronger of a player you become, and you have control of your limbs. You remember, everything, first off, comes from the mind. The mind has to be clean. The mind has to be focused and in command of your limbs. Okay, gentlemen? If there's any questions, Don, email me your phone number. I'll give you my phone number. I don't want to put my phone number out here, okay? I'm sure that you understand that. And you're absolutely correct. Independence as well. So we have another viewer, 8, and he missed the lesson. Because I'm about to close it up. Randy. No problem, Randy. How long you been here? Now we got 9. How long you been into the... Absolutely, Don. You don't have anything without control. I mean, that's a simple fact. All right, any questions, gentlemen and ladies? And those who don't want to get in the chat? Randy, come to the lessons tonight. I'm going to try to do the turnarounds with the one surface and a drum set application. Good. Do you understand what I was doing, Randy? If not, I'll re-explain it somewhat tonight, if you can make the lesson tonight. Okay, gentlemen, ladies, and whoever. No questions? All right, thank you, Don. You still have that Westchester music store, correct? Well, I'd be sorry if you have a gig. Be happy you have a gig and you can't make it. That's cool. All right, let me sign off. Oh. Okie dokie. So we're off to see the wizard.